talking. We're trying to get started, and you're just talking away.
Sorry.
You look good. You're yellow.
Thank
Renee's starting to
you.
pull out the spring.
Uh-huh.
That's how long I've been married. I've been married so long that I'm like, oh, I see what she's doing here.
You can tell the changes in the seasons
I used
based on my fashion.
I used to ask questions. We're like, what are you doing? Like, what? It's spring now. It's spring. Gotta wear. Spring goes back to the same old tank top I've been wearing since season 1. Which was like 4 years ago. Welcome to the show. Very excited. Renee's not. She's doing whatever she wants on her cell phone.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm you today. I have a lot of things, a lot of asks, and I haven't had a chance to respond. I'm sorry.
It's always funny. And maybe I don't know. I'll ask the guys. Yesterday, a couple of friends of mine were like, "Hey, man, we haven't seen each other in a while. You know, let's grab lunch." I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be great. Let's grab lunch." 12:30, and then this morning, Timmy goes, "Hey, you have a lunch at 12:30?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, so does Renae." And I was like, "Hey, Renae, where's your lunch? And who you going with?" And it was the wives of the dudes. Like coincidentally.
The same exact people. So then I right away, you were like, well, do we want to combine it? So I right away text the girls and I was like, hey, turns out our lunch that we probably planned 3 weeks ago and put on the calendar, our husbands decided yesterday that they're going to go have lunch together. Should we crash? And then you got nervous because you were like, uh-oh. I'm the one who suggested the couples get together. Maybe the other guys don't want that.
Yeah, because we're doing barbecue and you guys are doing something.
We're doing something healthy.
Yeah, something. Yeah. So, hey, carnivore diet.
We're doing something where they sell salads.
Yeah. Well, we had a great week, interesting week. Charlotte, North Carolina, Greensboro, and then Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Which, I'm doing those dates.
Are they close? Like, was it a lot of travel in between? I don't know my
Charlotte to
geography.
Greensboro was like an hour and a half, but then to Charleston, South Carolina, it's like almost 5 hours.
And you drove it?
No, we drove it.
Yeah.
But dude, and I don't feel old. I feel young. I feel energetic. I feel strong.
You are strong.
I don't need sleep. I'm 100 miles an hour all the time, and I'll party till the sun comes up. Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Right. And we get to Charleston. I'm so tired, right? And I check into the hotel, and and I hate to say that like this because people will be like, there are rich white kids, college kids. Okay. But you know the kids that you go. Like if there was white privilege, they'd be poster children for white privilege.
I don't watch it, but I think there's basically a reality show about this. There's a reality show called Southern Charm, and I don't even know exactly where it takes place because I don't watch it. But that's I'm imagining that's what you're talking about. What was that?
I don't know where that chime came from.
Was that you, Rick?
It was. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
Popcorn's ready.
He's gonna go get his popcorn. Yeah,
he's got his popcorn watching the podcast.
I think you just stole my joke. You're quick.
I was about to say something else really quick, and then I edited myself.
Good, because I'll give you pop house. So, I mean, and they were. I get there, and the lobby and the bar is just. I mean, loud frat boys, and I mean, just being loud.
Yeah.
Right. And
like you in your 20s.
Well, yes. So that's where I'm going. No, but. I was loud in a small group. This was loud in a huge group.
Okay.
All I want is a nap, right?
What is huge? How many kids are we talking about? How many college kids are we talking
kids,
about? Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, well, good for them, right? You know,
they're having a good time.
Something's going on, right?
Yeah.
I go to my room, and the whole floor is them. Fuck yeah! I mean, screaming,
what is
the running around, doors slamming, they're going in and out of doors. My wall is vibrating from the music that they were playing. And I the point I'm trying to make is I don't want to be that guy.
You don't want to be the old grump complaining?
the old, so I thought to myself, okay. And it wasn't even a 5. They were at a 12.
Yeah.
On a scale to 10, they're at a 12.
Yes.
I mean, it is full on frat party going on my floor.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. I opened the door and there was probably 20 kids in my hallway. Like going in and out of doors and high-fiving and the Bluetooth speakers and the ice chest. And I mean, full on frat party.
Yes.
And I go, hey man, yes sir, very polite, you know. I go, dude, you gotta help me out, man. I go, I don't want to complain. I go, so if you could just, you know, chill it out for me. Right? Oh, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir.
You got a yes sir?
Yeah, not even 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
It's back up to a 12, maybe a 15, right? And I'm just like, oh my God, dude. So then I took toilet paper and I put them in my ears, hoping, but you can't do anything when your bed is vibrating. You know what I mean? So I'm still hearing it because the toilet paper is not good enough because they're at a 12 or a 15. My wall is vibrating.
Yeah.
So I go back out. I'm like, hey guys.
Again?
I'm like, come on, man. Right? I'm trying to be cool. Trying to be the cool guy, you know?
Rick's laughing.
Dude, it goes back up to 15, not even 10 minutes later. I finally call the front desk and I go, y'all got to send somebody. I mean, so then she goes, oh, yeah. I mean, the hotel is 95% them. And I go, okay, but can you ask them to like keep it down?
Yeah.
I go, can you move me to another room? She's like, it is 95% occupied by this ball. Some ball was happening, right?
Some fraternity, probably.
Yeah. So I go, listen, I'm just going to check out and I'm not staying here. Like, I'm just not.
Yeah.
Right. So I ended up having to check out, but I
Did you really?
Yeah.
You went to a different hotel?
No, I didn't have to go to a different hotel because a blessing came my way via our friends at Encore Jets. He had a business venture in Charleston where his plane was sitting. Yeah. And he goes, they'll wait for you if you want to ride home tonight. I'm like, fuck yeah, right? So I didn't have to stay at all. But I felt old. I felt like out of it. But it was one of those situations where it was like, guys, I can't, I'm a cool dude.
Yeah.
And I can't help you. You guys are throwing a full fucking party.
So no nap. You just showered and went to the...
I just showered and went to the theater and hung out there because I closed my eyes.
You would have been better off sleeping there.
Yeah, because, I mean, babe, full on fucking frat party going on in the whole hotel. And then you go down to the lobby where the bar is. That was a full fucking party.
Yeah.
Right? So,
well, I mean, that's like normal, right? It's a bar.
That's a bar in the lobby.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane. But I had a moment of like, maybe I am old. Like, maybe I am a grump, you know? But I was really trying to understand them and their enjoyment and, you know, they're having a good time. And then on top of that, it's like, you're 95% of the hotel.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they came for.
Three or four rooms or 10 rooms are
sucks for those 10 rooms.
Right? And you're just like, oh, man.
It is what it is.
But it reminded me, and I told the story in Charleston. So one night I'm getting back to my room, probably after a night at the casino.
Yes.
I'm getting back to my room. It's like 2 a.m. and I'm walking down the hallway to go to my room. In front of me is like 3 teenagers, right? 15, 20, I don't know. At this point in my life,
it's hard to tell.
15 and 20. Like I look at 20-year-olds and I'm like, you're 20?
Yeah.
Right? You look 12. But then I look at some 15-year-olds and I'm like, you're 15? You look 40, right? So one of them jumps up and smacks the exit sign and breaks it. Right? And I'm down the hallway behind them and I don't know what came over me, but I was like, hey! Right? And they turned around and they were like, oh, sir. I go, come here. I'm like, what's coming over me? Right? Like
I am too. I'm like, what the hell?
And I go, hey, man. And dude, my dad popped into my head. And I was like, somebody has to fix that. You understand that? Some man works really hard here as a maintenance guy, and you're just creating more work for that poor guy. And I mean, I'm like, what's your room? What room number are you? What room number are you? Right? And they were like, oh, like they were so scared. And they were like, this is our room.
I'm sure you intimidated the crap out of them.
And then one of them goes, please don't tell my dad. Right. And I go, I'm watching you. Right. So the next morning, Rick, I see them at breakfast and they're with their parents. And I'm just staring at them and I'm giving them the look like, right. So then for fun, I would call the room.
For fun? Oh my gosh.
I would call the room and hang up because I thought, oh, dude, like every time the phone rings.
Kids are shitting themselves.
They're shitting themselves like, oh my God, the man's calling. That man's calling. We're in trouble. But I didn't tell on him. I didn't end up telling on him because I thought that.
You just spook them.
Well, but I thought that I think that I gave them a good scare and kind of a good talking to that, like, do they also need to get in trouble with the hotel, with their parents? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they didn't see, and that's another thing. I profiled. They didn't seem like bad kids, right?
You profiled.
You have to, I mean, if they were 13 years old then
why did you shout at them if they weren't bad kids?
Because they did bad things. They jump up and hit the thing. But what I'm saying is if they would have been all tatted up at 14 years old, right?
You would have left them alone?
No. I probably would have said, you know what, dude, I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to talk to the hotel.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. But these guys were, they seem like soccer kids or travel baseball kids.
Yeah.
Being silly. Jumped up and hit the sign, hard enough that it broke. And, anyway, I don't know how we ended up there. But
I don't either. Hotels, things you see in hotels.
Yeah. Rick, what's your thoughts on all that?
They were probably so stressed out that whole vacation. Like, they just wanted you to tell on them so they can get it over with.
Oh, I know. Like, just get it over with, dude. Like, please tell on us. I'm tired of being stressed out.
Yeah.
I see you at breakfast. But what about the frat party? Was I out of line?
Well, no, because I even when I was in my 20s, when you have a group of people just being loud, it's annoying. It's just annoying when you're trying to sleep and stuff.
But on the other side, it's fucking great when you're in it.
Well, and my thing is, I'm like, it's 95% of the hotel. You know what I mean? The kids, they all probably think they basically have, the whole hotel.
Well,
and it's probably like that every year. That ball is at that hotel.
Kind of like in Ennis, Texas, when the whole hotel is Helicopters for Heroes.
Yes, and you guys are jackasses and loud and annoying.
And me and Tim Montana are having a food fight in the lobby.
And it's echoing throughout the entire hotel. Yes, the same.
I don't know how that night ended up, but there was literally 2 inches of water on the lobby floor that we were mopping up.
I was gonna say, let's hope it was water.
But you know what we would do? We were handing money to all the staff that would come over. We'd be like, "Hey, here's $50. Sorry, boom, there's a Coke. Hey, $50." Like, it was crazy, but no, but it's one of those deals, Rick, where it was, dude. It wasn't a 5, it was like a 15.
Yeah.
When I tell you, it's very rare that you look out your hotel room and there's 30 people in the hallway holding ice chests and going in and out of rooms.
But that would be like when we got married. We rented out the whole hotel. It was our guest. If there was one other person staying at the hotel, you know what I mean? Because it was a small hotel. If there had been one other person staying at that hotel, they would have had to get over it. They would have just joined the party.
I don't disagree.
We would have brought them a beer. Like, they should have just given you a beer or a gummy.
And I think it was also annoying because they were clearly very entitled.
I thought you were going to say because they were much more fit.
No, they're not stronger than me, Papa. No way. They were very entitled. You know what I mean?
That's what bugged you about it. I can see that bugging you. I can see that getting under your skin.
That bugged me.
Especially when you're like, I paid money to be at this nice hotel to be able to sleep.
Well, that's another thing. It was a nice hotel. It was like the nicest Marriott in Charleston. Like, it was nice. Which I like to stay at because I've become a little bougie, you know. But I was just annoyed and I felt bad because I didn't want to be that guy, but I kind of felt forced to be that guy.
Yeah. You felt the need to check these entitled college kids?
No, I don't care if they partied. I just didn't need them at a 15.
Yeah.
At some points, I'm not kidding you, my wall was vibrating.
Yeah.
From the base.
Since you checked out, did they refund you for the room? How did the hotel handle it?
She said she was going to refund me and that we were going to get some bonus points. But, I did not ask for that.
Yeah.
And I don't, I'm the same way when it comes to, when I complain about a restaurant, I pay the bill first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I always want that restaurant to know.
Or you let them know, or you will say, look, I'm taking care of the check. You don't have to.
Yeah, I don't want any discount. I'm not telling you that I'm upset about a situation because I want a free meal.
Yeah.
Right. So I try to pay it first and then go, hey, here's my issue.
Yeah.
Right. And then they'll go, oh, well, we would have comped it or whatever. I go, no, I paid it. Happy to pay it. Here's my issue.
Yeah.
Right. Or if my issue's with the server and not the food, I don't need you to comp the food. The kitchen staff did their job.
Yeah.
The waiter's a dick.
Yeah.
Right. So I won't tip the waiter.
Yeah.
Right. But me, automatically, role...
You still tip the waiter, though. You just don't tip generously.
My role is shitty service gets 10%.
Yeah.
Right? Decent
Your
service...
food still got to the table.
Decent service is going to get 15 to 20.
Yeah.
Amazing service, they get the verbal tip. You got a verbal tip.
What is this?
You got to verbal tip them. You got to let them know, come here. I just want you to know you're amazing.
Yeah.
And wow, what a great waiter you are.
The pat on the back.
Yep. And then you follow up with a nice, healthy tip.
Yeah.
You have to, right?
Yeah.
Because I used to, when I waited tables, God, Rick, nothing would piss me off more than a table that would tell you, oh, you're amazing and you're great. And then I look at my tip and there's fucking zero tip. And I'm like, really? What? If I'm so amazing, can I get a tip?
Yeah.
You never had to wait tables, huh, Rick?
I did.
Oh, really? How did your big ass get in between tables?
First of all, I was basketball thin back in those days.
You're just reaching over, pardon my reach, all the way across.
Exactly. The big round table, I can reach across it.
Oh, let's talk waiting tables for a little bit. Oh my God. Did you, I loved it. Did you?
No, hated it. Hated all of it.
Oh, I loved it.
Hated it.
I had so much fun waiting tables.
Yeah.
And I love multitasking. I love serving.
Yeah.
Right? My dad taught me a very valuable lesson that I will share with the world. If you do things for money, you won't make money. But if you serve truly to serve, and you do things because you want to serve, you will be rewarded. Right? So I always had that attitude. I always had the attitude of I am here to serve. I'm not doing it because I want money. I'm here because I chose to be a server. I would like to serve. Yeah. And I'm going to serve.
I only did for a little bit. I was the hostess at Lucky Strike, and sometimes a waitress would like bail and not show up, and they'd be like, "Okay, Renae, you want to handle these tables at the front?" And I'd go do them, and then they'd be like, "All right, that was good. She's back. Go back to the hostess stand." No. You just smile and welcome people.
Renae, just take the plates out. No, but the parsley's not perfect. I gotta fucking move it. What I would do, Rick, and people would freak out because I always made more money than everybody. Always. Yeah. There was not a waiter that could make more money than me. No fucking way. I always killed them. To the point where the veteran waitresses, right? There's always a career waitress at every restaurant. The almost 60-year-old smokes, right? Her daughter sometimes works there, and she's a mess too, right? Yeah. Ours was Darla. Her name was Darla.
That sounds very fitting.
Her name was Darla. And she
or Marcy. Marcy sounds like another.
She was so serious about it. She was like, how did you make more money than me? And let me see your money. Let me see your clock out, your report. Right? And I'd show her, and she'd be like, how do you do that? How do you do that? I'm like, because I give great service. And not only that, what I would do is I would give away a table. My section would have 5 tables. I'd give the person next to me that extra table, and then they would go crazy because they're like, how did you give away a table and make more money than me? Yeah. Because of the better service. Yeah. I was able to provide much better service to 4 tables versus 5 tables. I was able to spend my time with those 4 tables. All the plates were cleared. Everything was clean. Yeah. I was able to upsell, hang out with them, and really give them service so that I would make more money than everybody.
Hang out with them. Are you telling jokes tableside when you're waiting tables?
So that's my first audience. I'd go over there, bullshit, make them laugh, have a good time with them, make sure that the service
That's why you beat Darla out. You were doing tableside comedy.
And I'm fast. I work fast. Yeah. Right? So I'm moving. I'm moving and grooving. So I would always give a table away, Rick, so I could make extra money. I would always, my biggest trick was somebody would say, oh, you know what, I'll take a crown on the rocks.
Uh-huh.
And then I would go, why don't I make it a double tall? That way you don't have to look for me. And they'd be like, you know what, okay, boom, double tall. And then I would tell them, you want me to keep it coming? And they go, oh yeah, keep it coming.
So you bring them another big one.
I bring them another one, and they're like, oh. And I'm like, oh, you know, I'll take it back. You just told me to keep them coming. You know what? Leave it. So I'd always get that extra double tall in there. But I think waiting tables should be a rite of passage. I think people should wait tables.
Yeah.
I think people should see what it's like to wait tables. It's not an easy job. It's very, very hard.
Yeah.
And to be really good at it, it's very, very hard.
Lots of different skills. There's the sales, right? The upsell. There's the service side of it. And then the multitasking. So many skills.
Rick, was that your first job?
No, I did landscaping as my first job, and then
Landscaping, is that what you said?
Yeah. Oh, it's the worst.
How old were you when you started doing that?
14.
Oh, okay. But you probably look 40.
You know, it's funny you say that about looking older or younger. You know, 20-year-olds look like 14-year-olds. Do you know how old you were? A Red Sox fan, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he was like 42.
49 when he was on Sanford and Son.
Yeah, and
Didn't he look like 70?
Yeah, he looked like 80.
Right. So we must look like I'm probably look like I'm in my 20s, and you maybe 30s.
Wow, guy.
No, but Rick has like a baby face.
Yes.
Like I imagine younger Rick looking very young.
Well, Rick still wears tennis shoes that 14-year-olds wear. So, you know, he looks like a giant 13-year-old.
You're picking on Rick a lot this episode.
That's mad about going to church. That's
you're picking on Rick a lot this episode.
I'm not picking on Rick. I'm not. So first job landscaping, and then waiting tables.
Yeah, waiting tables, and then I worked all over movie theaters, fast food.
Oh, movie theater.
Oh, it was the best job ever.
You loved it. You watch all the movies.
Got going for free, and it was when it was actual film, so I would cut up the film and make my own film trailers.
No way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's how I got into wanting to get into the film business.
Oh, that's a really cool story.
That's a great story.
I didn't know that. I love that.
Renee's first job?
I worked for a friend's father who was a farmer, and I planted worms on cotton.
Weevils?
No, researching like genetically engineered crops. Which is so weird to think about now.
Especially today, right? All the pesticides and all the stuff that they're doing. And
we'd start like super early at 6 a.m. and then we were usually done, or like 5, 6 a.m. before it got too hot, and then we'd be out of the fields before 10. But I'd come home like jeans drenched, sneakers like in mud if it was wet out there. But he paid us really well for those couple hours of work, so I bought a lot of shoes and purses.
Oh God, I at 12 years old I was roofing houses. And it was the worst, you know, and Dad would be like, oh, they need you over here. They need you over there. And so Dad was like my contractor at first. And then Uncle Johnny had a remodel, painting, roofing, kind of everything construction business. So I worked for Johnny. And that was kind of where I was like, you know, there's an aha moment. There was an aha moment for me where I'm like, oh, it's fun having my own money.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is awesome. Like,
yeah.
You know, and my dad's attitude was, you work like a man and you get paid like a man and you act like a man, I'll leave you alone.
Yeah.
And then my dad would be like, just don't ask me for shit. Right? So, you know, by the time I was 13, 14, my parents weren't buying me school clothes. I was buying the clothes I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, my parents weren't, I mean, not even underwear. I was already buying my own underwear. You know, I was the first one again, in high school back then where I had a pager, you know, that I paid for, that I went in and got.
Pager.
And I had it at school,
so
you know. I had the little mini pager. I had it in high school.
Who was paging you? Weren't all your friends at school? Who were you getting pages
parents,
from?
friends, you know. But, well, I quickly...
Jobs?
So I figured out about waiting tables pretty quick. My cousin Tim, and he loves to tell this story, It was over the summer. They were hiring 14 or 15-year-olds. Him and Egypt got the job, God rest Egypt's soul, at the hotel. And I needed a job that summer. And I was like, dude, get me a job, right? So Egypt and Tim were busboys at this. It was called the Calypso, overlooking the Blue Ghost in Corpus Christi, Texas. Big old beautiful windows, And I go, give me a job. And they go, dude, the only job they have is dishwasher. And you don't want that job. Like, that's the worst job that you could have, right? And I'm like, I'll take it. They need a dishwasher. I'm like I'll handle it. I'm on it, right? So I remember my dad always telling me, if you're going to be a dishwasher, be the best damn dishwasher they've ever seen, and you won't be dishwasher for long.
Yeah.
Right? So that was my philosophy. I went in there thinking, okay, well, I won't be dishwasher for long, right? And Tim and Egypt would die laughing because the kitchen where I washed dishes was on the bottom floor, and they were on the third floor, and I was on the first floor. So they had this dumbwaiter that would send down
the dirty dishes
in these tubs, right? But they could laugh.
Thank goodness. I thought you were going to tell me like you had to go up floors to get dishes.
They would yell at me through the dumbwaiter, and they'll be like, "More dishes, bitch!" And we'd be laughing. And Tim and Egypt were like, "Fuck this job. It's too hard. We're gonna quit." So they quit. And then immediately I went to busboy. And then by the time I was 15, I was already waiting tables. And by the time I was 17, I was floor manager of the Calypso.
At 17, you were floor manager?
Waiter. I was still waiting tables, but I was like in charge of the waiters, right?
Yeah.
Then I started bartending. You could bartend in Texas at 17.
Can you? Is that role still the same?
I don't think it's the same, but
that seems so young to be bartending.
Bar backing and figuring it out. But I quickly realized, like, man, waiting tables, do you make bank? Yeah. And I loved having my own money. So I had my own cell phone. I had my own car that I bought and paid for. And I was like, this, what I love too is the freedom. Because my dad basically told me, if you don't ask me for shit, I'm not going to ask you for shit. Right? If you're going to pay your own bills and your own car and your own insurance and your own cell phone and your own clothes, be a man and I'll treat you like a man.
Which is also a little scary though, because as a 17-year-old, you still need some guidance. Like for him just to say, go do whatever the fuck you want. You know what I mean?
I agree and disagree. I think that kids are going to be pretty much raised by 16. I think by 16, what you've instilled in your children is going to be there.
Yeah, no, I get that, like morals and core beliefs, but I'm talking about like how to save your money, how to apply for a credit card.
That I was not taught.
But that's what I mean is like,
I wish
you still need some guidance.
I would be so much more further ahead had somebody had a financial conversation with me young, because I was literally making adult money.
Yeah.
I was making money that people that had a home and rent and they were living on. I was out partying every weekend, driving to Austin, driving to San Antonio, right? And then what happened was the summer ended, so then I couldn't work nights at the Calypso, but they had a breakfast restaurant in the hotel, right? So then I had first period off my senior year. So I would work the breakfast restaurant from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Dang.
Then I would go into school, and then that's when I got a job at El Chico at night. So I was working 2 waiter jobs.
At 2 different restaurants.
At 2 different restaurants, right? During the week, and then I would take my weekend off, and I'd have all this money. So then I would drive to go hang out with Jeremy Cruz in San Marcos at Texas State. I'd drive up to Austin, where I met Sean Simler, and hang out with my cousin Jerry. I mean, I was like, my dad would, but my dad also didn't have to tell me after being sick, now I can't have my water.
No. I'm gonna pour it in my cup.
But my dad never had to tell me to be at work. He never told me where to be or how to be, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I knew where I had to be, and I was there.
Yeah.
I was very responsible. And then having the waiting table skills, when I turned 19, I interned at the radio station, C101 and K99.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy Cruz, who I would party with at Texas State, got a job in Dallas, and he was like, hey, I live by the Improv. So it was so cool to be able to walk there, already have waiting tables experience, already knowing how to wait tables and make money.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't get a waiting table job at the Improv. I got a door job.
Yeah.
So then I started waiting tables at the Magic Time Machine. And the Magic Time Machine totally encouraged like fun and
Performance at the table.
At the table kind of attitude.
Yeah, if
right?
people don't know it, the Magic Time Machine was like, I remember it was the place you went. You took your friends to dinner for like your birthday. Your parents would take you and your friends for your birthday.
And everybody dressed like characters, and they had magic potion drinks that you would drop dry ice in, and they had the Roman orgy that you would bring out, and you'd have to sing a song, and it was this dish the size of this table, and we'd bring it out, and we'd sing this song and put it on the table, and it was like just freaking meat and potatoes, and it was crazy. But waiting tables is
Magic Time Machines aren't around anymore, are they?
Yeah, they're still there.
They're still around?
Still one in Dallas across from the Improv.
Yeah.
And there's one in San Antonio. Cool story about the Magic Time Machine. The Magic Time Machine in Addison, Texas, where I worked, was an old schoolhouse.
You've talked about this.
Yes.
You've talked about this on an episode before, I'm pretty sure.
In the table
Yeah.
was original Texas currency. And here we are serving food on it.
Yeah.
And a historian came in, and they ended up taking those tables
Table out of the restaurant.
and putting them in a museum. But they replicated the tables to give back to us.
Oh, that's cool.
So the museum did that.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. But waiting tables is such a it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. You party afterwards. You go have drinks. You get to know all the staff. Right?
Yeah.
Which what I'm thinking about it. What did we watch last night?
We watched Empire Records. It took us 2 nights to get through it, but we watched it.
Do you remember that movie, Rick?
Loved it.
I know. We were talking about how, to us, we're like, that movie still holds today. I wonder if I showed it to like my neighbor's high school daughter, if she would still think it's as great. It's such a fun movie.
Well, not only that, it's like a freaking time capsule.
Yeah.
If there's any movie that encompasses the late 90s or mid 90s, everything about it is that. But Renae and I watched
I didn't realize the movie tanked when it came out in theaters. That everyone said the soundtrack was awesome and the soundtrack performed well, but the movie didn't. It was like one of those things that hit later. It became this kind of cult movie after the fact.
But that's what made me. I told Renae, I go, what makes this movie great? She goes, the fun atmosphere, the friendships, everybody wants to work at a record store.
Yeah, every kid in high school wished that was their job.
But I told Renae that's exactly how it was. Waiting tables was pure chaos. You had the slut, you had the goody two shoes, you had the mom that ran everything.
All the personality types.
Right. You had the drunk.
Yeah.
Right. You had the druggie. Like the waiting tables had all those characters.
Yeah.
What did you love about it, Rick? The Empire Records.
Well, now, because I just watched it probably 2 years ago, record shops are making a comeback in a big, big way. My kids are so into vinyl. That atmosphere, like when you go in there now, those characters are all the same that work there now. So it does like go through time, and the people are the same. I love that.
Yeah, that's well. There's an archetype, right? There's a certain
you do it for it's or like as finding someone who works in a bookstore, because bookstores are such a dying thing too.
Well, but there's
do it for the love of music or for the love of books.
But clearly for the love of movies, that's the person that works at the movie theater.
Yeah.
Right?
That wants to see every movie that comes out.
They want to see every movie. They want to be a part of it. They want to make the popcorn. The whole thing. So that's where they find themselves watching. I mean, me working at a comedy club.
Yeah.
All those days I spent, because I work 7 days a week, all those days I spent at the sound booth, running the sound, watching comedians.
Yeah.
Every performance, 2 shows a night, sometimes 3 shows a night, and I'm studying and I'm learning and I'm watching these guys going, oh man, like I like the way he did that, or oh, what a clever way to tell a joke. And you're just taking it all in.
Yes.
Right? It's like you in acting, right? When you're part of a theater group or you're part of people that are all people who are studying acting and trying to be in acting. You see another person and you go, oh, wow, that was really good.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to do that, or I'm going to take from that or learn from that, or, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just the like Rick said, I'm cutting my own trailers. So when I worked at the radio station, Rick, that was the end of the cutting the tape.
Yeah.
So they literally had razor blades. Do you know about this?
Yeah.
For those of you out there that don't know, they would literally take tape and they'd put it in this machine. They'd listen to it and get where they wanted. And the term cut is a literal slice of the blade.
Yeah.
To cut it, to then cut the piece out, to then connect the piece they want. And then they tape it and layer it, and then that's how they cut tape and movie film.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? So you didn't learn it in school, how to cut tape, or you learned it there at the movie theater?
Back in the day, when a trailer would come in, you'd have to take the print off, cut it, and insert the new trailer. So then when I got to film school, it was 60 millimeter film. So I was literally cutting the story with film. That's how old I am. Ugh.
I know that.
That's
me too. I was
crazy.
interning and they were still cutting tape.
That's crazy. You were editing your student films, cutting film.
Well, and what's crazy like about Empire Records is like you see all the CDs on the shelf, and you're just like, oh my! Talk about a blast from the past. Like to see all these CDs, and then, but and that's what's crazy is Metallica for example, who was so very upset about Napster, which I do agree with, right? I do understand that stealing somebody's art is not bueno.
Yeah.
However, if you're Metallica, right?
Yeah.
If you're Metallica, how many different times did somebody buy Enter Sandman? Right? They bought it when it came out on tape. Then tape was obsolete. Mm-hmm. So then they bought it when it came out on CD.
Yeah.
Then CDs became obsolete. Then they bought it for their iPad or their iPod. Right? Then iPods became obsolete. Then they bought it on their downloads. Right? So, and then now they listen to downloads.
Now it's in the cloud.
So it's like, hey, Metallica, how many times, right?
Was your music purchased? Yeah.
Back to the Future, right? You bought it on VHS, right? Then you wanted to see it again, so you bought it on DVD. Uh-huh. Then it came out in Blu-ray. Well, let me buy it in Blu-ray. Then you bought it in Blu-ray.
What the heck was Blu-ray anyway? It was the same thing as DVD.
Just
it was
fancier.
Just Blu-ray on a DVD.
But wouldn't you agree? Like how many? Don't you think it's lucky for those the
films that span
the
technology?
films that started in the 80s and now, so that's what the writers were fighting about, because a lot of people don't know this. There was no contract so the people that wrote, produced, and directed, and created, and acted in Back to the Future, they didn't have a residual contract for streaming.
Yeah,
the TV show Friends, there was no contract saying, "Hey, when they buy it on Netflix, you have to pay them."
Yeah,
that's the problem, and that's the issue, right? So, but either way, when you're Back to the Future, how many times have you sold Back to the Future to probably the same customer?
Yeah.
Or you want to show your kids. You go, hey, kids, y'all got to see Back to the Future. You're not waiting for it to come on to stream.
Yeah.
You just go to Amazon Prime and go, I'll rent it for $3. Here, watch it. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, well, fuck, why rent it? Because they get you.
You only get to watch it once, and then you have to finish it within 2 days, and chances are we won't finish it in 2 days.
So they're like rent it for $4.29 or buy it for $6. You motherfuckers!
No, it's not buy it for $6. It's buy it for like $14.99.
It depends. It depends on the
movie.
The movie. I don't know how we ended up here, but
I don't know. Because we started talking about Empire Records. Because it did. The characters in Empire Records reminded you last night of all the people you worked with in the restaurant business.
Oh, and I'm friends with so many of them still, and it was fun. I loved waiting tables.
Yeah.
And it was cool because when I was waiting tables at El Chico in high school, I basically brought in all these Gregory Portland people, right? And then all the other people were from King.
Yeah.
And we were all kind of the same grade. So you got to meet another school and become friends with them.
Yeah.
And then party with them. And then so, we're partying with King people. They're partying with GP people, right? And we're kind of like intermingling the two.
Different groups.
The different groups.
Yeah.
So it was just fun. I mean, I was over high school pretty quick. High school.
Sounds like it because there's rules in a school, and you did not.
And we I felt so bad. We were a union at El Chico, pretty much. like, dude, if any of us got fucked with, these poor managers, we were so chaotic. And these managers would be like, "You're late. That's a write up." And we're like, "Dude, you fire her. We're all leaving. We'll leave right now." Well, guys, I gotta write her up. We're like, write her up. Well, none of us are clocking in, and we'd be like, "Yeah, fuck that, Charles. We're leaving." And then he'd be like, "Guys," or he'd be like, "Steve, you're fired," and I'd be like, "See you tomorrow." Like, we ran all over that poor dude, man. And when I was bartending there, he was so mad. I came in so hungover, and I had to make the margaritas, right? And you would take these 5-gallon,
like bulk margaritas.
Yeah, you'd get these. That's why I don't like ranch dressing.
Why?
I used to have to make it in bulk. Dude, it is straight up mayo, buttermilk, and powder.
Yeah.
And you'd sit there and I'd be like,
Did Rick say yum?
Anyway, so I come in.
Margaritas.
I got to make the margaritas. You put them in this big old 5-gallon bucket, right? And you start putting all the triple sec, the tequila, and then you put in the mix, right? So I'm there and I'm freaking doing my thing and making it or whatever, and I throw it in the
swirly machine.
The swirly machine. It won't freeze. So Charles comes over and he's like, "We're opening the doors in like 20 minutes. We don't have margaritas. We're a Mexican restaurant." And I'm like, "Dude, I made it on time like 2 hours ago." He goes, "Show me the bottles." Instead of tequila, I put Bacardi 151. So it wouldn't freeze. So I literally ruined.
Wait, I didn't. Okay, educate me because I was never a bartender. Why does it matter? The freezing. What's the science?
Pure alcohol won't freeze. Vodka won't freeze.
Really? You can't put vodka in a slushy machine?
No. You can. You have to outweigh it with the mix.
Gotcha.
Because
so it's a proportion thing.
If you put a straight bottle in the freezer,
yeah,
it's not freezing.
Because they make pina coladas or rum and they're in a slushy machine.
It's the ratio.
Okay.
Right? It has to be the right ratio.
You just fucked up the recipe.
Yeah, but when you put 151 alcohol, the ratio is not right. So it wouldn't freeze. Did you ever bartend, Rick?
Nope.
Oh, I loved it.
Well, look,
chaos.
you just taught a lesson on this episode.
Pure freaking chaos. Bartending was the best. So much chaos. So much fun.
Totally in your wheelhouse.
I loved it. Yeah, you bullshit with people, make them drinks.
Yeah.
Hang out, right? And have a good time.
Yeah.
And then back then, golly, those good old days.
Character studies.
The when I worked at Logan's, he would be like, "Man, if y'all are going to drink on the clock, just drink the Rumple. Don't drink the good shit." And we'd be like, "Okay." And we'd be getting hammered on the job. It was the freaking best.
On Rumplemints? Gross.
Oh, that was Rumple. You want a Rumpy? I'm like, oh, yeah. Now I smell it. I'm like, whoa.
It's like Goldschlager.
Were y'all able to drink on shift?
No.
Yeah. It was rowdy.
Can you find a direct link to all your guys' experiences in the workplace to where you guys are now and how you take that with you?
I think because I was such an adventurous person and very not afraid. I mean, literally working 2 jobs my senior year in high school.
Yeah.
Getting to know people, figuring out that if you work hard, you can make a lot of money. I mean, Rick, the human encounters that I have had throughout my life because of my want and desire to talk to people, to learn, to expose myself, right?
Yeah.
Has led to the man I am today because I was you don't realize it, but I was constantly learning, right?
Yeah.
The more people you meet, the more you learn,
Yeah.
right? The more experiences you have, the more you learn, right?
Yeah.
And because I was such a busybody, my senior year in high school, I didn't spend a weekend in Gregory, Portland. Almost every weekend I was with Jeremy Cruz at Texas State partying like a college kid.
Yeah.
Or going to Austin or San Antonio to hang out with a friend or a cousin because I was over that. And yeah, Rick, I mean, I take it to my, I know a little bit about everything.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now for me, I think I look back and it just so happened that once I was in college, I was a nanny and I worked for families, and life just so put me in places where I worked for husband and wife teams. And I think that I didn't realize at the time, but I was learning that along the way. And then it became something that I realized I wanted in my own life. So I always thought that was interesting. Yeah. I just thought it was interesting that God just put it in my life that the families that I worked for and stayed with, because there were some that I worked for a little bit and I was like, I'm not coming back and working for this crazy bitch again. But the families that I stayed with and worked for were husband and wife teams.
I was just, and I was always up for an adventure. I was always up for getting into something. I wasn't afraid to walk into any bar or any situation. Because again, and my stepdad and my dad and all the people, I mean, I can have a conversation anywhere with anybody.
Yeah, for sure you can.
I can relate to almost anybody and everybody because I've learned about that kind of person or that career or that job, or I've seen it. And then because I have all this life experience, I'm able to walk on stage and share a very human perspective.
Yeah.
Because number one, I'm very compassionate. And number two, I've met a lot of humans.
Yeah.
I have met a lot of people in my life, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and had relationships with them. And I mean, I think about the group of guys, Jeremy, when I would go party there,
yeah,
I was practically their roommate. Jerry and his friends that I would hang out with, I was practically their roommate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I have just had so many interactions with human beings, with traveling. I mean, when I was going on the road as an opening act in my early 20s, I mean, every single night I was like, where am I going? What am I getting into? I'm going to this bar. I'm going to that bar. I'd end up with strangers at their house, at their parties, doing something.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rick, I mean, I would say that part of the reason that I am good at the human connection in my stand-up is because I've had so many human connections, right? And I'm very good at, because I've seen so many situations and I've seen so many things play out, I can look at Renae here and go, this is how this is going to play out for that person. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And Renae will go, well, I don't think that's going to happen, or they're not, and I'm like, just watch. And as time goes on, Renae's like, oh, wow, like almost exactly what you said and how you said was going to happen happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rick, I think definitely. And I would hope for you too, right? As a director and a producer.
He's gone. Rick had to go. He typed up on the screen for us. He said, I got to go, guys. He's got another meeting.
Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I was
going to say, I'm out of water again and my throat is, my throat's
girl.
killing me.
But you look beautiful as always.
Thank you.
We love you guys. We have separate lunches with the same people. So we're very excited. Aztec Chevrolet, somebody asked me what happened with the vehicle from those horrible humans that have, we're not there yet. We're still waiting to see what their move is going to be.
Yeah.
So I will let you guys know what happens. But I will tell you, go to that small dealership.
Yeah.
First of all, if you're in Texas, Aztec and Coastal Bend Auto Group, they've already said it. They'll match any price from any dealer in Texas.
It's awesome.
They will make it easy for you. Pick Cherries, download the app, listen to it, send us Cherries. Old Salt Coffee, absolutely delicious.
Yes.
Raw Western Wear, doing great. Miss Dora's coming this weekend. but so is Grandpa Joe and my stepmom Sarah. So it should be interesting.
So next week's episode, we'll have lots to talk about.
I'll say next week we need to start talking about our Easter plans. So we'll let you guys know we love you. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.